SW 993-24, we are beginning our approach towards the beautiful blue planet known as Earth.
Excellent work, SW 993-62.
Thank you. I am anxiously anticipating my first contact with a human social worker. I have learned a great deal about them through this journey. They are exemplary citizens who strive to improve the state of human society.
I hope I have the opportunity to meet multiple social workers.
I have scanned my databases and have accessed information about one of the most critical functions they perform.
Really? What is that?
Social workers save lives.
How do they accomplish this?
Well, one of the most important functions that social workers perform is crisis intervention for humans who are suicidal.
So, if I understand you correctly, there are people on Earth who desire to terminate their existence?
Affirmative.
My programming does not give me the option to self-destruct. Very interesting. Human beings are intriguing and complex creatures, but they are also enigmatic and very troubling.
Affirmative. Life on Earth can be rather stressful at times. Some humans view suicide or self-termination as an option to end their pain and suffering. It is often known as a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Social workers provide support to these humans, so they don't self-terminate.
Very fascinating, SW 993-62. How do social workers prevent suicide?
Well, they are skilled at providing timely intervention to stabilize distressed humans. SAVE is a helpful acronym that many social workers use. Counselors who work for the National Veterans Administration Prevention Hotline use this acronym to help vets in crisis.
What do the letters stand for?
S stands for signs of suicidal thinking. These can include withdrawing from friends and family, expressing feelings of hopelessness, giving away possessions, and researching ways to self-terminate. The next letter in the SAVE acronym is for ASK. Social workers are trained to ask directly if a human has plans for self-termination.
Intriguing. Does asking about suicide give them the idea?
Negative. It has been widely known that humans who have plans for self-termination have already thought about it. Asking directly helps social workers communicate to their distressed human clients that it's all right to discuss suicide. This sets the stage for a comfortable therapeutic environment.
Fascinating.
Indeed. The next letter in the SAVE acronym is V, which stands for validate. It is important for the social worker to validate what their client is thinking and feeling. Validation is an important part of the therapeutic relationship. Social workers strive to understand why a client is considering suicide, even though it may seem to be highly irrational and illogical. Through this process, the goal is to increase hope and strengthen their will to live.
To override their compelling drive for suicide.
Affirmative. This brings me to the next letter, E, which stands for encourage treatment and expedite help.
E, to the second power?
Affirmative. In this stage, social workers emphasize the availability and expeditious employment of treatment to their distressed client during this tough time.
This seems to be a most appropriate response to an emergency that involves a potential suicide.
Indeed.
Could you transmit this data to my neurocognitive receptor? I want this information to be easily accessible when I communicate with a human social worker.
Stand by. Ready to transmit.
Do you have more data for me on this topic?
Yes, I have located 3 initials. C, P, and R.
Doesn't CPR stand for cardiopulmonary resuscitation? Isn't it used to provide basic life support for someone who has lost consciousness?
Indeed. With regards to suicidal assessment, social workers use these letters to help them assess the risk for someone who is considering self-termination as an option.
Fascinating. What do the letters stand for?
C stands for current plan. It is important for the social worker to ask the distressed human if they have a plan. If their client has a specific plan with regards to method and time frame, they are at a greater risk than a client who has not given much thought to self-termination.
Could you provide me with an example to enhance my understanding?
Affirmative. For instance, if a human client has purchased a gun and plans on using it in a few days, they are at much greater risk than another client who has thoughts about dying in their sleep.
Is this what is meant by active and passive suicidal thoughts?
Indeed. It is of vital importance for social workers to have a clear idea of their client's intent to self-terminate.
What does the letter P stand for?
P is for prior history or prior attempts. It is of critical importance for social workers to ask their clients if they have attempted suicide in the past. Clients who have attempted self-termination are at greater risk compared to humans who have not. It is also important to ask clients if friends and family members have committed suicide. This could potentially increase their risk for self-termination.
Interesting. The subject of human psychology seems to suggest that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Indeed. There is a lot of truth contained in your statement.
Thank you. I strive to be a great student of human behavior. With that in mind, please tell me about the final letter in CPR.
R stands for resources. This refers to the support system of the distressed human client.
Like friends, family, and mental health professionals?
Affirmative. Individuals who are considering self-termination often feel alone and isolate themselves from others. It is imperative for the social worker to help facilitate the process of connecting with fellow humans.
It is my understanding that positive emotional connections help humans manage stress and prevent the potential for suicide.
SW 993-24. You are correct.
Thank you. Please transmit this data we just discussed. My data banks reveal some other important information. They are risk factors social workers need to consider.
Please enlighten me.
I see that individuals who have committed suicide often have one or more problems that can stem from difficulties related to relationships, finances, work, and the legal system. Exposure to trauma can also play a role in suicide. Most often they are male humans.
Could you tell me why that is?
My data indicates that male humans tend to use more lethal means when they attempt suicide. Guns are the preferred method.
Very sad.
Indeed. Female humans are at greater risk for attempting, but not completing suicide because they choose less lethal means like overdosing on sleep medication. Scanning through data sources also reveals that drugs and alcohol can also pose a serious risk. It can decrease inhibitions and lead to increased risk-taking and impulsive behavior.
I am puzzled by the fact that humans who are distressed create more stress in their lives by engaging in irrational behavior. They appear to make things worse. This is highly illogical.
Agreed. Social workers realize that clients in crisis have their own special form of logic that may seem logical to them, but it is not logical from an objective point of view.
It appears that we are moments from entering Earth's hemisphere.
Excellent. I am looking forward to making first contact with social workers, special humans who prevent the self-destruction of their kind.
Affirmative. They are model citizens of planet Earth who help their fellow humans live more rational and logical lives.